But at the same time, you have to be confident enough that know that what's meant for you will never miss you. Baby, it'll be like a motherfucking boomerang. It'll go cross like that. It's like a missile directed at you. Your blessings no one can take. Hello, beautifuls. My name is Giselle, co-host of the Strong Sunflowers podcast and founder of G is for Growth. And today we're going to continue in our series of becoming a strong ass sunflower. Tip number 4 is all about asking for help. If that's something that you want to learn more about, make sure that you subscribe, stay tuned to this motherfucking video, and let's get right into it. If you're new here, we talk all about self-love, self-care, growth, mindset, travel, living your very best life, and just being authentically while you do it. So join the field. But let's get right into it. Before we start, we have to set it up, baby. You gotta say that shit out loud. You gotta say it out loud. You gotta visualize. You gotta manifest. You gotta speak your life into existence. Like, I am the queen of giving TED Talks, giving full-blown speeches in the car, in the shower, wherever. I literally stand in front of my mirror and I'm like, hello, my name is Giselle, co-host of the Strong Sunflowers podcast and founder of G is for Growth. And today I want to talk to you guys about X, Y, and Z. And this is my journey and this is how I got here. And I'm so thankful. Baby, a full-blown speech. I'm talking about like crying and everything. I literally manifest my life and I make sure I say that shit out loud because you never know who's listening. And I know, because myself included, I'm working on this because sometimes I can't keep my motherfucking mouth shut. And not everybody is always happy for you. And I know this. And I am working on it because I have so many ideas and things up in the air that I'm working on. And I'm trying to move silently, but baby, I'm so excited. And I just want to tell the whole world. But remembering that not everybody's happy for you. I get that. But at the same time, you have to be confident enough that know that what's meant for you will never miss you. Baby, it'll be like a motherfucking boomerang. It'll go cross like that. It's like a missile directed at you. Your blessings no one can take. So be confident in that. Feel that to your core. And that's what I'm trying to remind myself. Like, my blessings, what's meant for me, no matter, baby, if God is with me, who can stand against me? So make sure that you speak and say it out loud. The other week I was at work and it was pretty slow. It was like a Tuesday, I believe. And I was like, oh, maybe I get to go home early, work on my craft. And there was a slight pop, so I had to stay. And I had 4 tables that night. And out of those 4 tables, I had 1 table, party of 8, I believe. And they were talking about failing your way to success. And I'm just over here minding my business, pouring my water. But that was the day that I had filmed tip number 3, fail your way to success. Fail fast and fail hard. And I was like, oh my gosh, it's so cool. So they were talking about entrepreneurship. And then I had, me. Big mouth. I had to pitch in and I was like, oh my gosh, I have a YouTube channel. I just did a video on this about failing your way to success and I'm just starting on my entrepreneur journey. I'm creating an app and I'm in the process of it. He was like, oh my gosh, no way. We just got our company evaluated for $100 million because we also have an app and we're here down from New York to celebrate. And I was like, keep my motherfucking mouth shut, that would have never happened. That connection right there, that's God. God, baby, what is meant for you is meant for you. And he gave me his card. His name is Brian. Baby, CEO, okay? And the app is called Here Now Help. And he's the chief executive officer. And the app is all about mental health and helping people get out of the stigma of wanting to get help and reaching for help. So instead of just going into a building where people might judge you, you get to go on this app and you get the help that you need right away without having to think of like, what are people gonna say? I'm gonna have to drive to this place. So that's an amazing thing. And they also have an amazing story. They got to share a little bit of it while we were at dinner. And I was like, man, again, what's meant for you is meant for you. And he was like, if you ever need any help, like, here's my card. Like, I would love to help you out in this entrepreneur journey. Again, we already made it. So I'm not asking anything from you. I just truly want to help you in this part of your life. And I was just like, and shout out to Shannon too, because we are friends on Instagram now. And she's like, I can't wait to see your app and everything that you have going on. But oh my gosh, again, that wouldn't have happened if I kept my mouth shut. And obviously, I'm super excited to even have a mentor because I feel like when we talked about tip number 3, feeling our way to success, you're gonna fail, baby. And you're gonna fail multiple times because you're trying something new. But tip number 4, again, when you couple all these tips together, that's what I'm talking about. Strong ass sunflower. Because tip number 4, when you ask for help, especially from a mentor or someone that has done what you're trying to do, they can kind of guide you. You're not gonna suffer so many failures when you have a mentor that's been there before. Like, hey baby, jump right here. You don't wanna do that. I've been there, I've done that. It's not good way. Turn this way, turn right, make a left. You know, like your own personal little GPS. Because one of the things that I've heard is stop taking advice from people that are not where you want to be. Baby, if you are not where I want to be, if you're not making the kind of money that I want to make, if you're not making the kind of impact, the kind of business motto, the kind of business values that I'm trying to get to, why am I gonna take advice from you? Because you're not doing business the way that I want to do business. You're not achieving the goals that I want to achieve. That makes no sense. It's the blind leading the blind here, okay? Get someone that knows the ropes, someone that has done it before. And I know, because baby, I'm first generation Latina. Shout out to my Latinos out there. And I came from Cuba. I'm the first person to ever graduate from college in my family here in the United States. My grandfather, when he came from Cuba, he moved to Miami and then he was like, Miami's too Cuban for me. So he moved here to this part of Florida and he started his own business. He had multiple tire shops and he brought a lot of our families from Cuba here and taught them the ropes, the game, how to do the business, and a lot of them are very successful, making 6 figures a year. And my grandfather had no one. He came here by himself. So I say all that to say that sometimes, even though having a mentor sounds amazing and great, sometimes we are the trailblazers. Sometimes we don't have that luxury of having someone to guide us. You know, when I went and applied for college, like my mom didn't know what the fuck was going on. Yes, I got to reach out to my teachers and figured out how to like fill out FAFSA and get all these scholarships and bright futures and all these things. But that took a lot of me to do it and to reach out and to try to get the help as much as possible. Because if I didn't do it, no one was gonna do it for me. And also having a mentor can save you from real costly mistakes, baby. Because I remember when I bought my first car, and mind you, at that time, I was driving my mom's car. I had to take my mom to work. I had to drop off my brother at school, then go to school, then get out of school, pick up my mom, and then pick up my brother. It was definitely like a lot going on. But my mom was so like ready for me to get a car that we went to a pay here, buy here to buy one. 0 out of 10 recommend, baby. Do not go to a pay here, buy here. They will take your motherfucking money. It's not value. It's not quality. It's not giving what it needs to give. Okay, so I went to this pay here, buy here, and I got this Nissan. And I remember, I think I was like paying I was supposed to pay like $400 every 2 weeks or like some crazy thing like that. Plus my interest was through the roof, just like some crazy stuff. But I remember I was super excited and my mom just wanted to get rid of me and we went in there. She didn't have any experience buying cars either. And I signed and I got this car. And I was like, oh my gosh, this was such a horrible idea. And I believe 2 weeks later, I put a down payment of $2,000. And I remember my mom matched me. So I worked my ass off for $1,000 and my mom matched me with another $1,000. And 2 weeks in, I went back and I was like, baby, take this car. This was a horrible idea. This was a horrible idea. And they were nice about it in a sense. And they were like, okay, we'll take the car back, but you're not getting your $2,000 back. And I was like, oh, okay. So now I lost all the money that my mom and I saved to buy this car. Plus, we're still back to square one of me driving everybody and we all using this one car. And I decided to go to the dealership. Baby, I don't know. Again, back to the beginning, right? What God has meant for you is meant for you and no one, nor their mama, can take it from you. And mind you, I'm 18, I'm working part-time, I'm still going to school. And I go to the dealership and I look at this Corolla. That was my first car. Her name was Pearl. And I get this 2015 Corolla, 0 miles, 0 down. And they gave me the car right there. I was like, brand new, brand stinking new. I was like, how did I don't even know how this happened. I don't even know. My mom was my cosign. But yeah, and I got out and I got a brand new car. And baby, if I would have stayed stuck into that, oh my gosh, I failed, I lost all my money, how am I gonna get a car now? I wouldn't have said that shit out loud. I'm like, let's go to the dealership. Let's see what happens. Maybe the Lord has something else for me. And he sure did. He sure did. And another thing, I think when we ask for help, it also promotes collaboration, because I am not here for competition. I'm not trying to compete with nobody. The only person that I'm competing with is me. I'm trying to be better than I was yesterday. I'm trying to make a difference that I want to see. That's what I'm trying to do. So whatever you want to do, whether it's to become a content creator, whether it's to do social media, whether it is to go to medical school, who's in your field matters. The people that are surrounding you and telling you, hey, you can do it, it matters. And one of the quotes that I've been having in my mind lately is people, especially now, because I'm in this whole entrepreneur space and I'm creating this app right now. And like I have this, I'm going to go back to this video when I make it, and you and I are going to be like, bitch, you knew it. Bitch, I believed in you. But like, I really think this is going to be a big idea. It's going to be big. And it's gonna be successful, very successful. And one of the quotes that I was looking at was saying like people wanna support you, but not when they're doing better than you. When you're doing better than people, that's when you'll see people's true colors. Because your true friends should share and speak your name in rooms filled with opportunity. And even when you surpass your friends, that shouldn't mean anything. Because there was never a competition thing. You know that if I go up, you go up too. Because I'm a ride or die. And maybe we in this for the long run. If I got $1 million in a boat, baby, you got $1 million. Well, maybe not $1 million, but you got a boat. Okay, let's go on the boat. Whenever I think of like this whole content creating and creating a new app and my podcast, I think of the bread aisle. I heard this speech with Steve Harvey and he mentioned this, and he said like, whenever you think that the field is too saturated, there's too many of whatever it is, think of the bread aisle. Go to the grocery store and think of your nearest bread aisle. There's all types of bread. There's just a fucking aisle dedicated to bread. You know, there's white bread, there's brown bread, there's breads with seeds, there's, sweet bread, there's butter bread, there's potato bread, there's all kinds of killer bread. That's my favorite. Dave Killer Bread, 10 out of 10, 10 out of 10. Protein bread, all types of bread. But you know what's not on that aisle? Is that person from that brand or whatever it is decided to still create bread even though they knew that bread already existed. This shit ain't new. Bread has been a thing, you know what I mean? But they didn't let that deter them from making their bread, making their brand, making the bread that they want to sell. So sometimes as you level up, friendships will change. And sometimes you're not going to be friends with the same people. And that's okay, because sometimes that's also for the best. And while we're on that topic, I also want to say that sometimes our worst enemy and the person that gets most in our way is ourselves. Because we don't want to ask for help. We want to do it on our own. You know, we want to be self-made millionaire. We want to be self-made billionaire, whatever it is. We want to, when we get to the top, we want to say that we didn't have anybody, that we made it on our own. And we think that we can figure out everything on our own. And like I said before, when we have a mentor and when we have guidance and when we ask for help, that can accelerate where we're trying to get to, because they've seen the game. They know the next step. They know to make a right here, make a left. They know the labyrinth, you know, that you're trying to get through while you're playing like trial and error. Even though sometimes we do have to play trial and error, but not always, especially when you can just simply ask for help. Like being in a freaking grocery store and you've never been to this grocery store before and you're trying to find the milk. Like, why are you over here, or finding something more specific, why are you over here just walking the aisles, wasting damn time when you can go to someone that works at Publix, for example, Walmart, and be like, hey, where can I find X, Y, and Z? And they're like, okay, it's aisle 3, right in the middle, lower shelf. You see how easy is that? You got to where you needed to go way faster. So self-awareness is really important because you need to be aware of your strengths and your weaknesses. I am aware when I can't do something. I am aware, at least I try to be. Like when I don't know something, baby, I don't know it, I can't do it. And I think being pre-med and being in the medical field really put that into perspective, because when you are going to school to be a doctor, just pre-med, and you're in the hospitals and things like that, when you act like you know something when you actually don't, that can cost somebody's life. And are you really willing to bet just to keep your ego, just to satisfy yourself, just to not be ashamed and look stupid? Like, no. So making sure that you're aware of your weaknesses and being able to say them out loud It's so important. And speaking of collaboration, I feel like also when we collab, instead of competing so much against each other, like we bring so much more perspective into the field because people have different life experiences. Like I grew up in Cuba. I came here when I was 6. I always say that a 6-year-old Cuban is like a 12-year-old in American years because, you know, you grew up in a third world country and you have to grow up fast, you know? Like I would cross the street without my parents at 6, you know? My mom was playing dominoes and the kids from the block, we would just go and do our thing before and then go home before nightfall. You know what I mean? Those are different times. And those are different lived experiences. So having new perspective is really important because sometimes we be acting like our shit don't stink and it does. And we have to be open and okay with criticism and with people telling us when, hey, like this from this perspective looks a little off, maybe you should change it. Hey, this would be better this way, and just being open. And again, when I say being open to criticism, I don't always mean like just taking everything that everybody says and then applying it to whatever you got going on, because at the end of the day, you have to be really confident in your own stuff. You know, you got to take everything that everybody says as a grain of salt, but you have to be willing to take that grain of salt, you know, because if a million people are saying the same shit, like that's a lot of grains of salt. So maybe you should fucking change it. Just be flexible to new ideas and new perspectives. But that is tip number 4, asking for help. And just remember that asking for help is not a sign of weakness. It's a sign of courage. It's a sign of power, because there's true power in knowing what you don't know. So with that being said, oh my gosh, I'm super excited. Tip number 5 is next. And tip number 5 is all about advocating for yourself and others. And baby, if you have found this series of tips helpful, make sure that you watch the next video because baby is gonna be good. I love you guys and I'll catch you guys in the next video. Ciao.